patience, tenacity, and intellectualness.
Smart.
All qualities you need to do what I do. Always searching. Always querying.
Asking a lot of questions.
Never afraid to go where those are too scared to even dream of. There is no rock I won't look under. No stone left unturned. There are times on this lonely journey that the right choices aren't always the clear ones. But through my strength and my genius, I am unstoppable.
I can't be stopped.
I am not afraid to push boundaries, to go against the grain. The truth is always worth the struggle. Some call me a hero, and others, they don't. But for me, it's just another day at the office. We are getting over your fear of starting, okay? Very excited to be back. You know, not last week, I guess it's been 2 weeks now. Last video, we talked about Fiverr, and we talked about some ad that is still hounding me to this day. Literally just got one on the toilet 6 minutes ago. But this video, I'm going to be using a new example as my metaphor to motivate you to stop fucking caring so much, okay? And you're doing fine. This video will be using exercise, lifting, weightlifting, all that bullshit as my example. But do not fret. Do not freak out on me, okay? This isn't going to be one of those, I give you every Mr. Olympia winner that's ever in their history in 1940 in muscle, protein. No. None of that matters because that's not the point of the video. I'm just using that to make fun of and laugh with you to get the message across that we can do big and great things, okay? And when you become a millionaire, don't forget about me, just saying. And I'm not even gonna bring up that one time Arnold Schwarzenegger talked about lifting being like sex to him.
So can you believe how much I'm in heaven? I'm like getting the feeling of coming in the gym. I'm getting the feeling of coming at home. I'm getting the feeling of backstage when I pump up, when I pose out in front of 5,000 people. I get the same feeling. So I'm day and night. I mean, it's terrific, right? So, you know, I'm in heaven.
Yeah, that's real. That's a real thing. Instead, we'll be doing the shallow end of things. We're going to talk about the surface level of how people are being manipulated per usual, but in this case, in the fitness world. We're going to talk about how you're doing fine, how I'm doing fine-ish, and how we can do fine together. For the sake of this video, we'll be focusing on weightlifting, but we'll be breaking it into two categories, just again going very briefly over them to talk shit. But before we do that, let me just say this little disclaimer thing. I'm very passionate about just exercise in general, right? And there's many forms of that, both big and small. I think anything that gets your blood pumping, your heart pounding a little more than usual is gonna be healthier for you and your mindset, your mental, makes me feel a little more motivated, makes me feel a little bit more centered, you know, stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be weightlifting. It can be swimming, dancing, going for a walk, you know, anything. It just so happens that the weightlifting community is like the Real Housewives, but with deadlifts.
After Mike called Greg a two-faced, sociopathic, lying cocksucker, and Greg uploading no less than 10 videos on Mike, it seems there's no way back for the pair's relationship, and they are currently having one of the most fierce online beefs in modern memory.
I'm gonna hesitantly drop it back.
Oh, bastard! Just to appease the chicken-legged pencil X?
The pecs do activate on pullovers. Problem is, I simply don't feel my pecs when I do this movement. Why?
But it's not about you, Jack! What kind of scientist are you, Jack? Why do you drop down the most basic muscle builders? What's the point of that?
Top of the range of muscle.
Who cares about the top of the range? You are the one saying the stretch is the most important part! Shrugs with straps with one player, brother. This is why you're dropping your bench press. I don't know, I'm sorry.
Welcome. Good. I'll shake your hand as a sportsman in the world of boxing.
Like I did back in 2017?
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
You shook your hand.
You fucking fake lying bitch.
Right, sit down. Guys.
Yes, you were.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
Prove it.
How many world records do you have?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. How many do I have?
Who cares?
You probably know. More than 10.
I couldn't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because you keep saying it's a world record and Google says it's a world record. It even says.
And you know what?
It even says out of competition.
Fuck you
Out of
I'm
competition.
not on the fucking internet
calm
crying
down,
like a fucking little bitch.
No, calm down.
Unfortunately, I do consider myself at least somewhat part of that community because I do work out a lot and I really enjoy it, which I know I didn't have to say anything. I mean, look at me. But it's going to be a very nice baseline to have and relate back to the message I want to share with you today, which is failure should not be feared. It should be expected and appreciated. So we're going to talk about that today. But how are we going to talk about today? We will be separating the differences between science-based lifters and non-science-based lifters. Dun dun dun! That was a little dramatic. But it's going to be a good time. There are still too many people that are afraid to branch out, try new things, and who have been misled about what a realistic creative journey looks like, okay? Now, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, and I do apologize, but it's true, and we're going to be better together. And I'm using the whiteboard this time. Non-science-based. Okay, we have our categories up and I'll write down the points as I go. When the lifting community hears science-based lifters, the bigger names they think of are Dr. Mike Israetel or Jeff Nippard, and these are people that when studying exercise, they look at the scientifically proven best ways to do each lift for the best results. They do this by performing scientific studies, and these studies measure a whole bunch of different stuff like muscle growth and energy expenditure and a whole bunch of other sciencey words that would murk me in a spelling bee. Your word is myofibrillar hypertrophy. Place of origin? Does it even matter? No! These scientific discoveries could be as simple as laying down to perform a bicep curl as opposed to standing in order to get a better stretch and better activation. You'll hear that a lot.
I got delayed onset muscle soreness that lasted for 3 days in my biceps, which to me happens once every 5 years.
Or these discoveries claim to completely change how to do an exercise altogether. Like Jeff Nippard is claiming that half of a calf raise isn't even necessary for muscle growth.
But not giving up, the scientists found a third technique that actually saw about twice the growth of the other two. This third technique was something different that I rarely see people do. This time, they actually didn't go up onto their toes at all. Not once. They just stayed in that bottom half where their calves are most stretched. So whenever I do calf raises these days, I never fully go up onto my toes anymore.
That might have been a bit much, but the overall goal is that science-based lifters want to make everything as optimal as possible. They're searching for the best movements that give you the best stretch on that muscle, which often results in lowering down the weight, going slower on the eccentric, which is going down, and then hopefully getting that bad boy back up to go slow all over again. This scientific vision can lead to a lot of new exercises being found, new movements. But unfortunately, some of those new movements could also look a little more awkward, which is where the non-science-based lifters take it upon themselves to point out how unique those movements look, right? But the biggest complaint you get from them, like the stereotypical response, is, why would I take advice from someone who's smaller than me? You know? And if you were wondering if I would give you an exact reenactment of what that conversation would look like, I got you covered. Now, obviously, that's over-exaggerated to have some fun, but that is kind of like the stereotypical response a non-science-based lifter would have to critiques. And if there's anything we know about stereotypes, is that they're always right. Let's not look into that. All right, so for science-based lifting, we have, they like to rely on studies and data, more analytical. They believe in a more optimized training method, less weight, more control, deeper stretch, buzzwords, right? But the downfall might be that this info might be a little too overwhelming. Is that how you spell overwhelming? Okay, I guess I just haven't spelled it in a while. I think that's right. But if you're surrounded by people that are telling you the perfect form and every little percent has to be very precise to get the best chest or the best arms or whatever, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be intimidated to even start if they already think that they're doing it wrong by just walking wrong, you know, stuff like that. So that might be something that people would be against when it comes to this study and the one right way to do it, right? Okay, great. Keep that stuff in mind. I know my handwriting sucks. Shut up. Now let's move on to the other side of the narcissistic coin. Again, I'm kidding about the narcissistic thing. You guys got to remember, I consider myself a part of this community too. So every little jab I give, I'm kind of giving at myself. That's my way to kind of cope with how small I am. Non-science-based lifters, there are plenty of reputable people that are a part of that group as well. An easy and quick example are the Trend Twins. They have a younger audience. They just like to throw weight around. They look great and they have a fun time doing it. There's also Eric Bugenhagen, whose last name I could be saying wrong, but it's not personal. Please don't hurt me. And also my last name's kind of confusing too. So we're kind of like, don't hurt me. But he's an example that finds himself often disagreeing or having some issues with the thoughts of Jeff Nippert. And I know I'm saying a lot of names here. And for the sake of this video, it doesn't really matter if you guys know who I'm talking about or care about who I'm talking about. But if for some reason by the end of this video you grow an interest or are at least curious about this community, I highly recommend you explore it on your own, both sides equally. As with forming an opinion about anything new to you, it is unwise to just pick a side and then jump into the deep end and drown yourself in that information, right? The best thing to do is compare the opposing views as safely as you can and just see what you find helpful and enjoy and let yourself explore in that sense and just go from there. That's not the point of this video, sorry. Non-science-based lifters. The best way to describe non-science-based lifters is you lift big to get big, and that's it. If it worked for bodybuilding legends like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ronnie Coleman, and Chris Bumstead, you don't think it's gonna work for you? You ever seen a scrawny guy lift 405? Exactly. Get under the bar, make it go that way. At least that's what they believe. In my experience, the worst case scenario of a non-science-based lifter is that they will give you advice that has worked for them and only them, and that gives them the confidence to critique your working out, your form, and your habits. Now, am I saying that they're always going to be wrong when they do that? Absolutely not. Am I saying that they're always going to be right when they do that? I'll let you decide. They don't see a reason to complicate anything. You get in the gym, you make the bar heavy, you lift it until you can't lift it anymore, you leave, you come back the next day, you make it slightly heavier, and you lift it until you can't lift it anymore, and then you rinse and repeat. So overall, non-science-based lifters, they lift and grow through personal experience. Okay. They have a more direct mindset when it comes to lifting. And this is not me trying to sneak in a joke about them being stupid or intellectually lower or anything like that. I'm just saying compared to everything is right or everything is wrong, it's a little more simplistic in the sense that just lift the weight, man. Okay? That's all I'm trying to say. But I will say, as we have the downfall of this side, the downfall of this side, as where the science-based community might be overwhelmed by all the information, I feel like the non-science-based community, if you're being introduced to that, you might find yourself intimidated by a lot of the other people that are just trying to be like, just lift the bar, man, don't worry about it, just lift it. And you know, the stereotypical, like they're all just jacked and just being like, just lift the bar, dude. And although I don't think that fits with every non-science-based lifter to ever walk the planet, a lot of people who want to talk themselves out of lifting will always picture the worst case scenario, which is a bunch of like very fit people trying to poke fun at them for being very small, which never happens, but it's a realistic fear that people have. I shouldn't say it never happens. It's very unlikely for it to happen. Okay, so now as you can see, we have both sides assessed, compressed, and soon undressed. Sorry. So initially, I put comparison in the middle column, and then I erased it, and I put both in the middle column, and I lied again. So what we're gonna actually do is I'm just going to tell you which one is the best. And the best one is, drum roll please, the one you can stick to. Oh, stop. The entire lifting community is oversaturated with people with big followings who take advantage of those followings and try to shove false promises and programs and diet plans down your throat. Do I think all of them are bad? Absolutely not. Do I think 85% of them are bad? Yeah. A lot of those transformation pictures to convince you to join either side can be faked very easily. And to go back to the last video's topic, people are using pictures of AI generated bodies to fake progress to convince you to buy their shit. You are surrounded by things online that trick you into making unfair and unrealistic goals that you think are reasonable so that you inevitably fail them and feel terrible about yourself and come crawling to daddy to make the pain go away. Probably shouldn't have worded it like that, but you know what I'm trying to say. They want your money. The only one of these that's going to work for you is the one that you can grow a passion for, whether it's analyzing every movement because you like to learn that kind of information, or feeling like a silverback gorilla every time you step foot on a deadlifting platform and throw weight around, or a mixture of both. It doesn't matter. It's consistency that's going to keep you going the way you need to go to be a better you, dude. And yeah, it's a cop-out of an answer, but it doesn't mean it's fucking wrong. Too many people are surrounded by things that they don't realize are fuck you. Fuck you. I'm angry. I need water. Too many people don't realize that they're being conditioned to make goals for themselves that are designed to fail. It's bad news time. Where's my stool? I need to calm down. Let's look at two people we've already talked about, okay? Now, regardless of what you believe, although they have differing beliefs when it comes to lifting, they still both have very impressive bodies. Like what they've been able to achieve through their hard work and devotion is very impressive. However, I'm sure before I even started saying anything and the pictures popped up, part of your brain, whether you directly picked one or subconsciously, you made a preference. You were like, I would prefer that guy over that guy, or I don't even like that guy, fuck him, he's cool, right? But here's where the bad news comes in. If something like this, if you're a younger lifter and this is your goal physique, one of the two, the issue is you would be lucky to get halfway to your least favorite one. And that's the truth. Because you need to think, especially with these younger influencers, their job, their full-time job, is dedicated to making themselves look as aesthetic and as pleasing to the eye as possible. How they look and how fit they are is directly proportional to their following, their engagement, their sponsorships, and stuff like that. So if your realistic goal is to look like these people while you have 2 jobs and a kid to look out for, or an animal, or extra responsibilities, and then you think that when you can only work out on your free time and get better about your dieting when you have the budget for it, that you can achieve these 2 things, dude? Is that fair to put on yourself? Because a year from now, you're gonna look in the mirror and not see this, I don't either, and be fucking bummed. I would be. Now, if you're able to look at these pictures as motivation, and you know yourself well enough to be like, this guy keeps me motivated to keep working, but it doesn't distort how I view my own achievements and like how far I've come, then that's awesome. And this segment isn't for you. But if you are the type of person to look at this and seriously think that if you just really work hard for a year, you can look exactly like this person, it is more likely than not that that is not the case for you. And again, it's not the case for me either. I'm just trying to share what things are realistic to achieve and what aren't, and really what is behind the scenes, because it's easier to see a picture of a dude and be like, that dude looks good, I want to look like him, right? And it's a lot harder to be like, well, That's more than just a picture. That could have been 10 years of hard work leading up to him having a pump and not eating anything that day and posing at the beach to look that good. And now I'm trying to dedicate the next 90 days to be exactly like that. It's not how that works, man. And it's the same thing outside of lifting too. If you have 1 year of drawing under your belt and you're comparing yourself to somebody who's a professional comic artist that's been doing it for 15 years, how is that fair for you to value your own talents off of those that have just experienced more than you? It's not. Look, I'm not here to attack you just because you have goals. That's not the point. I want to make sure that you're not letting everybody else dictate what you're capable of. Good and bad, right? You don't want to downplay what you're capable of either, as much as you don't want to act like you can run a marathon in 2 minutes on your first day. Whether your goal be losing 5 pounds, gaining 5 pounds, or just appreciating the body you're rocking now. You look great, by the way. Just take your time. The longer it takes you to achieve that goal, especially in fitness, the more likely it is to stay with you, because that's a habit that you've reinforced and made a constant in your life. And this last part's a little obvious, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If you're finding yourself surrounded by people that mostly see your value through your physical appearance, that's gonna be something you're gonna want to reconsider when it comes to long-term relationships, of any kind. But we move on. We're done with bad news corner. My back hurts anyway. Just have better posture. We said some jokes. I got loud. I don't want you to think that I'm ever genuinely angry. I'm just passionate about this stuff, and I'm having such a fun time doing these kind of videos. But let's wrap this thing up, okay? In conclusion, progress is progress. As long as you can stay consistent, no matter how small those changes might be, those are going to add up, especially in the long run. What good is it to do that 90-day lock-in transformation if after that 90 days, you let your guard down, fall back into those bad habits you were in earlier, and become the person you were 90 days ago? And then you'll just cycle through this terrible feeling shitty about yourself and self-doubt and self-hate and all that stuff, where it's just easier to let yourself acknowledge the growth you can accomplish and keep. And for the sake of this video, I use lifting to share that message with you guys because I wanted to show you a little piece of me and my personal interests. But a lot of the advice I gave towards your mindset and being able to recognize what you're capable of can be applied to any and all interests that you might have or be scared to explore. I mean, I don't know if everything I said can be applied to all interests. I kind of blacked out in the middle, but you get what I'm saying. My goal is to show, once again, that it just doesn't fucking matter, dude. And I don't mean that to downplay any of your experiences or what you're trying to do and explore on your own. I mean that as a support. Like, wouldn't you, fuck everybody else. Wouldn't you want to take the time and truly nurture and care for whatever skill or habit or goal you have, no matter how minor or major it might be for you? Because other people don't know how impactful what they might see as a small change could really impact your life and lifestyle. Because let me tell you this, my goal for my last video was to get 50 views. I thought that'd be so cool. My video before that, the most views I got was 44 on the long form video, so my goal was 50. And let me check right now, live, to see what the views are at. What the fuck? I'm at 360. The last I checked, I was under 300. And that was yesterday. What the fuck? That's awesome. Thank you. Hold on. That's so sick. Okay, I gotta focus on the end of this video. Okay, let me finish this and then I'll talk about that. Okay, I've calmed down. Those numbers might be small potatoes to some people, but for other people who have never seen that kind of engagement ever, that makes me feel fantastic. Even if it never gets any bigger, I'm just lucky that I could even experience that one time. That was so cool. It would be pretty funny if most of my views were the people that like it would be recommended and they were just too distracted to like close out of it while it started playing, that'd be pretty funny. But a win's a win, dude. Be able to celebrate the little things, because those little things over time are going to develop into that big thing you never thought was possible. Okay? Be willing to share your struggles. Be willing to be open to the fact that things are going to suck. But those things that suck are going to help you get closer to the things that don't suck. Failure in anything is a necessary step to learn what not to do. That's what most learning is. For example, my TikTok account, I'll post something, which I guess I have to start plugging that, but I'll post something and it'll get 12 views. And then I'll post something the next week at the same time and it'll get almost 1,000 views. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I know to avoid that kind of like story time, or maybe like I know not to post before 5 o'clock now. And I've done that multiple times. I'm learning. It's part of the process. I'm not embarrassed. I'm frustrated. Sure, absolutely. But that's part of the process. You're going to get frustrated. You got to be able to take a breath and be like, okay, don't do that again. And then we grow and we figure things out together. Dude, I'm here for you. And like as much as I can be, like, I don't know you. I'm not trying to like make you fall in love with me or anything, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like, we got this. You got this. By yourself. You don't need nobody else. It's okay if you have other people. I'm just excited. You know what I'm trying to say. I forgot to do it in the last video because I didn't think you would really do that well. Maybe this one won't, and that's perfectly fine too, but I should tell you to like and subscribe, I guess. If you guys are interested in this kind of video, please join the family. If you stumbled upon it, you realize it's not for you, and you finished it anyways, cool. You're ballsier than I am. I do appreciate that. You don't have to do anything you want. Leave a comment if you want. I'm interested to see what kind of gym stories you might have about either extreme of the lifting community. I worked at Planet Fitness for almost 2 years, so trust me, I have plenty of stories. But we'll get to that at a later date. I appreciate you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and a wonderful everything else. And I'll see you guys later. Follow me on social media. I don't know what I do there, but yeah. Oh, I forgot to talk about my pump cover. You guys peeped the sweater? My partner got it for me. Yeah, I have one of those sleeper builds. That's when my muscles are always asleep and forget to show themselves. Okay, I'm uncomfortable.